Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Advanced. All right, welcome back. Yes, welcome back. I am here once again with a special guest, the same as yesterday. Susanna is with me today. Thank you, Susanna, for coming in.
Hello, Kyle.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for coming. It was great yesterday. So I said, please, Susanna, would you come back one more time? And she said, all right. So here she is. Susanna, one more time. And we will start with a little review. This will be very easy, right? Because we just did it yesterday.
Yes.
This material. But I think reviewing is very important. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree.
She agrees. She agrees with me that reviewing is important. Studying at home is important. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. She agrees. Reading out loud en voz alta, also very important. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. But German is more important than English. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
Oh, she doesn't agree. Okay. I agree. I don't agree. Or I agree and I
Disagree.
disagree. Absolutely. Okay. I agree or I agree with you. So Spain is a very cold country. Do you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you.
She doesn't agree with me. Is it a warm country?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a warm country. There are a lot of tourists in Spain. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay. Italy produces better olive oil than Spain. Do you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you.
She doesn't agree with me that Italy produces better olive oil, right? Aceite de oliva,
Yes.
olive oil. And what does olive oil come from?
Olives.
Olives. And where do olives come from?
Olives trees.
Olive trees, exactly, olive trees. Because very often when I say olive trees, my students look at me and say, what? Olivos, right?
Yes.
Olive trees, yes. So Andalusia, right,
Yes.
has more olive trees than Alicante. Alicante. True or false?
False.
False?
True.
True.
Can you?
True. So you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with
Than
you.
Alicante. Yes, Andalusia has more olive trees
Yes.
than Alicante. Sure. Raúl is a great player.
I agree with you.
She agrees with me. Okay. Because now I said is in the present because some people are getting angry at Raúl, you know? Have you heard about this?
Yes.
And they say, "Oh, he's too old." What do you think?
I don't agree with these people.
You don't agree with them.
No.
So you agree with me that he's still a good player?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Real Madrid is better than Barcelona.
I agree with you.
She agrees with me. Okay. We can start a lot of controversy. Saying things like that on the radio, that's what causes people to write in and start, Kyle said that Barcelona, and so just a grammatical example, okay?
Yes.
My accent is easier to understand than most native speakers.
I agree.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Maybe. Because maybe I speak teacher-ese.
Maybe.
Teacher-ese, you know what I mean? Like a teacher English, which is a bit more clear.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
But because you've been to Vaughan Town, right?
Yes.
And did you find the accents more difficult to understand there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So ham is delicious. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, we should move on. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with
Okay,
you.
she agrees. I agree. I think, do you agree with me at home? Yes? Okay. So it's time to move on. We were talking yesterday also about money and people that are rolling in it. They have so much money, they're rolling in it. How do you say that in Spanish?
I don't know.
Someone is very rich. What do you say? Forrado.
Forrado, está forrado.
Yeah, he's rich. He's filthy rich, stinking rich, rolling in it, loaded, because they have made a killing, right? So we have a few expressions, and they're in your student guide as well. But I'd like to move on because I want to make sure that we have time to cover the other things in the show, because we saw this yesterday, to be rolling in it, to be loaded, to be filthy rich, and to be stinking rich. Some expressions to talk about being very rich. Okay, very good. Expression of the day. Yes, it is time for our expression of the day. Are you ready for the expression of the day, Susanna?
Yes, I'm ready.
And this is a good one. This is a good one that I doubt you have heard. It is called a baker's dozen. Have you ever heard of this? A baker's dozen.
No, haven't.
What do you think what do you think maybe it means? A baker's dozen.
I don't know the meaning of bakers.
Well, a baker,
Baker.
someone who
Mendigo.
who bakes. No, not a beggar, a baker.
Baker.
Like a panadero.
Okay.
So someone who bakes. It's interesting. The verb to bake, hornear, right? But we say to bake cakes and to bake bread because you say panadero
Yes.
for someone who, but that would be a person who makes bread, right? No. Also, is it also someone who
Panadero. Yes, who makes bread.
who makes bread? Now, what if he works in a bakery but he doesn't make bread, instead he makes sweet cakes? Then what's he called?
Panadero also.
Panadero. Okay, because in English we have a baker, and a baker could bake any number of things. A baker could bake bread, a baker could bake pies, a baker could bake cakes. I love baking cakes. I like baking cakes and pies. Did you know that?
No.
I like to bake pies. I like baking more than cooking. Do you like cooking?
Yes, I like.
Do you? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Do you like baking?
Yes, I do.
What do you prefer, baking or cooking?
Both of them.
Both of them, okay. So baking is using the oven, right? So a baker, but the expression is a baker's dozen. So a dozen, what's a dozen?
12.
12
Thanks.
units. So if I go down to my local baker and I said, I would like 12 cookies, please. Well, I would like a dozen. And then my baker, he's a nice guy. He gives me not 12. He gives me not a dozen. He gives me a baker's dozen, which is 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 13. It's kind of a rare little expression, but it is known in the English language, a baker's dozen. So it's kind of like a baker, I suppose it originally just comes from bakers giving their clients or customers an extra cookie or an extra piece of bread or whatever for free. So instead of a dozen, a typical unit of typical size of a batch, they give you 13, a baker's dozen, right?
Yes, okay.
Okay, there you go, a baker's dozen. That's an expression that you probably didn't know at home, right? So it's a good one to write that one down, a baker's dozen, right? Good job. All right. So, should we finally get around to practicing Class 43? Should we get around to that, do you think?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, to get around to doing something. What is it? What does that mean, to get around to doing something?
In Spanish.
All right, in Spanish.
Ponerse a hacer algo.
Yeah, ponerse a hacer algo. Could you say llegar a...
Yes.
Yeah. ¿Cuándo llegarás a hacerlo? When will you get around to doing it? Right? I have a shirt that I've stained it. I've stained one of my shirts. I have a wine stain on one of my shirts, and I know that it needs special attention. I have to clean it with a special process, but I just haven't done it yet. I have to get around to doing it. But if I don't get around to it soon, I may never be able to get that stain out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I have to get around to cleaning my living room, my salon, because I haven't cleaned it for a long time. I have to get around to it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Is there anything at home that you have to get around to doing?
I have to get around to writing some emails.
Writing some emails to catch up with
Yes.
friends or family or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I get emails from people and I think, okay, I'll write them back. But then I think, time passes and next thing you know, 2 weeks has gone by. And, I never got around to. Sorry, I meant to write you back, but I never got around to it. Sorry. Of course, it's not nice to say I never got around to doing it because then it kind of implies that that person was a low priority,
Yes.
which isn't nice. But to get around to plus gerund, ing, right? So my house is dirty. When will I get around to cleaning it? I have to get around to cleaning it. I didn't get around yesterday. Well, what time did you have lunch yesterday?
I had lunch at 3:00.
Okay. A little bit late.
Yes.
Ask me what time I got around to having lunch because I had lunch late as well. Ask me what time I got around to having lunch yesterday.
What time did you get around to having lunch yesterday?
Great. I got around to having lunch at 3:30. I was trying to have lunch at 2, but I didn't get around to it until 3:30. I was starving. By the time I finally got around to it, I was completely starving. Yeah. Ask me if I got around to calling the locksmith. Do you know what a locksmith is?
Yes.
How do you say locksmith in Spanish?
Cerrajero.
Yeah, the special guy who worked with the law. Ask me if I got around to calling the locksmith yesterday.
Did you get around to calling the locksmith yesterday?
No, I didn't. I didn't get around to calling him because my neighbors did it for me. I didn't have to call him, but there was a problem with the door of my house, the front door. My key didn't work. The lock was broken. But I thought, I don't have to do anything. I knew I didn't have to do anything because in my building there are a lot of people, and I knew that someone would complain very quickly. There are many people who would instantly complain about this to the president of the building, and so the president will get around to it to fixing it immediately, right? Is there anything you want to buy that you have to get around to buying?
I have to get around to buying a new coat.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I have to get around to buying some new golf clubs because I've started playing golf. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I need some clubs, We don't say sticks, we say clubs.
Oh.
Clubs, yeah. Palos de golf clubs. I have to get around to buying some new clubs because my old ones aren't going to last. They're not very good. I have to get some new ones. So you have to get around to buying a new coat for the winter.
Yes.
You'd better get around to buying it soon.
Yes.
Because it's already starting to get cold, right? Okay, very good. Vocabulary of the day. All right, yes, it is time now for our vocabulary of the day. Our 5 words of vocabulary. And the first word today is cuenta corriente. How do you say cuenta corriente in English? Cuenta. What's a cuenta?
Account.
Account. Corriente?
Checking.
Checking account.
Checking account.
Yes, because we can write checks
Okay.
on this account. Although checks aren't very popular in Spain, are they? They're not very popular. I used to work at a bank in Canada, and a lot of the people used checks. And one thing I used to do is actually give checks to clients that wanted them, new checks. So they could order books of checks with maybe 50 or 100 checks in a book. And they would come to me and they would order them with certain colors, certain patterns, designs on the check. So I remember having big catalogs of checks and people coming in and saying, "Let me look at the catalog." And they would sit there. Some people who had time for this sort of thing would sit there and spend 20 minutes looking through the catalog and choose a color scheme, right? A color arrangement, colors and patterns and an animal. I want a check with a red border and an eagle on it. I said, "Okay, no problem, Mr. Smith." And I would find the check and order it for him. Yeah. Well, just like here, some people on their credit card, they have like a Real Madrid logo.
Yes.
Similar concept, right?
Mm.
Okay. So, checking account. Entierro.
Burial.
Burial. Mm. What do you call the place where people are buried?
The grave.
Yeah, the grave, or they go into the grave, and then that location is the graveyard.
Or the cemetery.
Or the cemetery. Sure.
Cemetery.
Yeah. Repollo. Col. Oh, good. This is a good word.
Cabbage. Or something like that.
Cabbage. Absolutely. Nicely done. Well done, Susanna. Did you get that at home? Susanna got that one. Did you get it? Cabbage. Cabbage. How do you spell it?
CAVBB.
Yes.
ANGE.
No N.
Without N.
BBAGE.
Yes.
Cabbage. Yes. Do you like cabbage?
Not really.
No. I went to a restaurant the other day in the center where you could choose various toppings for your sandwich. And I said, put some cabbage on there. Well, I said it in Spanish, but I put some cabbage on there because I'm trying to eat more healthy, you know?
Yes.
It's a healthy thing to eat.
Yes.
Ganado vacuno.
Ganado vacuno.
Starts with the English word for gato. Cat.
Cattle.
Cattle. Yes, cattle. So cows, a bunch of cows, basically. Together, cattle. Director General.
CEO.
CEO. And what does CEO stand for?
Chief Executive Officer.
Nice. So, CEO
stands for.
Yeah. Repeat that again. I like that.
CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer.
Yeah. What does it stand for? So we have the expression here, to stand for. ¿Qué significa? When we're talking about acronyms, we say it stands for. CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. You know UFO, like un ovni? What does UFO stand for?
UFO stands for Unidentified Flight Object.
Unidentified flying
object.
Yes. It stands for unidentified flying object. Very good. We're running out of time, Susanna. We're running out of time here, but we have to talk about dates. So what we'll do, I'm going to finish now. But tomorrow, we will do an extensive review. In our review segment, we will come back and we'll practice dates with the years 1900. So when we have two zeros at the end, we say 100, 1900, 1800, 1900. And then also with the O, we say O instead of zero in the dates, in years. Right, Susanna? Do you remember that?
Yes.
1905. Okay. We'll practice that tomorrow. Will you come back and join me again tomorrow, Susanna?
Yes,
so we can practice? Yes?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Good. So we will be back tomorrow, and Susanna will be back with me, and we will practice the dates and so much more. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.